Okay, so I'm breaking into this YouTube video to do kind of an update. This is definitely out of order, and I want to give some context as to the why, because I don't think I put that in the original part of the video that I started to build. So, grit automation. So I've always wanted to have an automated system for my dust collection. I just couldn't find something that was going to work for me because of space requirements, because of the particular blast gates you need to use. Always seemed to be a challenge for what I was trying to do. And I went to the International Woodworking Show in Atlanta last year and saw grit automation there and asked a bunch of questions in the booth and got a good feeling about like how that system would work with my particular system. So I started connecting with them in December, and then I made a decision to buy in January. I got all of the products delivered sometime in January, and then I ordered more because I realized I decided I was gonna build a new shop, which is another reason why this video is taking so long to come out. And ordered more parts to make that whole system work. So I wanted to kind of get this in between the rest of the video just to make more sense. So Bent's Woodworking came out with a great video about this particular system, but it's missing some of the pieces that I'm using, so I figured I would still put mine out there so people could see how it would work with some of the other pieces. So the size of my system, I think, is a little larger too. So let me kind of go over the size of the system I'm using already is. Okay, so for my table saw, I have two blast gates, a 5-inch for the main and a 4-inch for the overarm. For the shaper, there's also two blast gates, 5-inch for the main and 4-inch for the hood, or it might be reversed. 5-inch for the hood, 4-inch for the body. The joiner planer is a 5-inch. My double drum sander, which is going to probably transform into a smaller wide belt at some point in time, is a 6-inch blast gate. And then currently I have a single 4-inch blast gate that I'm using that is kind of a catch-all for a bunch of stuff. For my older bandsaw that I just replaced, for my pocket hole machine, for my router, all those things that kind of did together. And the cool part about this system is that you could have the triggers, multiple different triggers, trigger the same one dust port, which I think you could get the gist of that from Bent's Woodworking video. So the new shop is going to have more. It's going to have a 5-inch dedicated line for the edge sander. It's going to have probably a 5-inch port that splits into a 5-inch blast gate that splits into two ports for this gigantic bandsaw right here, two 4-inch ports. A dedicated 4-inch port for my spindle sander, and a dedicated 4-inch port for my mortising machine that I have. So how my system lays out is that my saw is 3-phase, 220. So that has two blast gates connected to it and one trigger. I'll show you those triggers in the future while the other video is playing. The shaper has two controllers. It's 3-phase, or sorry, two blast gates, and it's a 3-phase machine. The joiner planer is a 3-phase machine with one blast gate. The mortising machine is 3-phase, and it's got one blast gate. And the new machine that's going to be hopefully my new wide belt sander will be 3-phase also, still one blast gate. So I'll still be using the same 6-inch blast gate that I use for my double drum sander for that one. The only difference will be from 220 single phase to 220 3-phase. So when I upgraded a couple of machines, I had to change some things. So my bandsaw is 1-phase 240, but it's 5 horsepower. So I needed to order this big 220 heavy duty trigger from them. I have an edge sander that's 220 that'll use this particular trigger right here. I have the oscillating spindle sander, which I can do 110 or 220. I'll probably do it 220. It'll run off that trigger. I have the single phase, like I said, 240 double drum sander, but that's actually going to have to be run with one of these triggers because it's a 7.5 horsepower motor. So I'm probably going to have to do that with one of these triggers, unless the wide belt comes before then, which is possible. Then I have a pocket hole machine that's back here in the corner, and that runs off 110, which looks like one of these, which you've seen, a 110 trigger you saw in Bent's video, if you've looked at that. And then I have my router right here that will also run off 120, so when I turn this on, it'll all be dedicated at that point in time. I'm also going to have a drop for a dust sweep, and I still have to figure that out because that's probably going to require the switch that you saw that they offer, and I don't have that yet. So I still probably have 2 more things I need to get from Grit to make this thing totally work. Okay, so these are my 2 triggers that I still have left over that I'm going to be using still. So one of them is going to work with my mortar sting machine that's in another room. It's not even here yet. Well, it's here, but it's not even in this room yet. And then when I get my wide belt sander, and then I have 3 of these already located inside of my 3-phase machines now, which is kind of what the rest of this total video is going to be about. So yeah, that's kind of the whole situation. I know that not everybody saw this or the install, and I didn't take any video of actually installing the blast gates onto my the actuators onto the blast gates, but it's exactly the same thing as in Bent's video. So if you want to see that, watch his stuff. And from that, I'm gonna now probably transition back to the original video and then show you the different installations inside of the 3-phase machines to give you an idea what that looks like. Add a couple things in. So this particular larger trigger that's for this big bandsaw, this is definitely made to be put on the bandsaw, like the 3-phase machines I'm going to show you in a bit, and it's hardwire situation. So I'm going to hardwire it into the actual bandsaw, and then I'm going to put a connector for an extension cord on the other side, and it'll kind of like, they give you a VHB, really nice double-sided tape, and I'll put that right above where the actual plug's at. It should work perfectly right there. As alluded to in other places, this this manual that they give you is unlike any other manual you're going to get from any other woodworking company I've seen before. It gives you pretty much every possible scenario that how you would do whatever you're going to do with. I mean, I don't know if there's any scenario that was in here. And after I had talked to them and they had kind of custom configured mine system, they knew that some of the things that I were going to do weren't in this, and they printed out those particular pieces for them, which are like for these triggers that weren't actually originally in the binder. It could be in it now, I don't know, because again, I bought mine a while back. I do want to say the Grit hub that is kind of back there in the corner. So it does have the ability to be run off of an app. It does have the ability to be run off of your like PC. It's I don't know if it's technically an app. It's more of like a web page that you're just pinging directly to it. The beauty of this system though is it does not have to use the web to work. So after you get this set up, you can be completely local within your home and or your shop or whatever you're doing it in, and you don't have to have to access some outside server system or whatever like some systems work off of. This truly could be after you get it set up, you're just done and you're just running it separately, which I like that idea, because if something changes or if something's not supported anymore, I don't have to worry about that because this all works independently. So that was pretty cool. I do want to call out one thing though, that the one power bank that I have, which is I think the 40 amp version, is enough to run every single blast gate you have. So I have, like I said, I think I'm going to end up having a total of 12 blast gates when it's all said and done, and it'll run all of those, maybe 13 blast gates. It'll run all those blast gates, no problem whatsoever. So let me start switching and show you some of the insides of these machine, like electric bays. And I know you're going to see me, and I'm going to have in the top corner for some of this, some of the time-lapse stuff just flying by, because most of the time I'm like down on my hands and knees inside of two of the bays. The one for my shaper, I was just lazy and didn't pull my shaper out. It would have made my life a lot easier. but I left it where it was, and you're just gonna see me on the ground half the time. I cut most of it out. And then on my table saw, that one, I got bothered by my neighbor, who's a really nice guy, but I'm in the middle of making a video and he just wants to talk. So I tried to cut out most of that too. So anyways, I'll show you each one of the different versions. You'll see an older Format 4 cabinet. You'll see a newer Format 4 cabinet, and then I'll show you that my Law Invincible from SCM cabinet, and you can see how I installed each one of those. So here we go. Welcome to PK Woodworking. I just want to warn you in advance, there's a bird in my shop on top of my Mr. Cool. I don't know how to get it out. So if it makes some noise while we're going, it is what it is. But I wanted to start off by just saying today, and hopefully just most of today, maybe tomorrow too, I'm going to start installing this grit system for my dust collection to automate my dust collection gates. The cool part about it is that it has blast gate controls that can mount to any current blast gates I have. So I've got all the things I think I need for it. I have the triggers that work with the 3-phase machines also, and then the stuff that works with 120 volts, and also that will turn on my dust collector at the same time. So turn the machine on, it'll turn the dust collector on, open the gate. After the machine's turned off, it'll leave the gate open for whatever time I select, and then it'll go. So I'm gonna start this today. We'll see how it goes, and probably go into part of tomorrow too, knowing me. Hey everybody. Okay, so most of the rest of this I'm gonna do with a time lapse, because otherwise it's just gonna be too long. So time to get ready and get started. So here we go. So I guess I should do this twice just in case, because I just lost the the footage a second ago. So let's do it again. Okay. Let's make sure you guys have a good view of that. And I think you do have a good view of it. All right, so I'm gonna point out some of the things here that I didn't get to talk about because the film stopped. So there's the grit E-stop trigger right there, mounted through a hole in the cabinet that Felder was so nice to give to me. And all the wiring goes inside, and then I actually end up at a transformer up here to get a single phase. So I think here I'm either getting 120 or 240 volt single phase to run the actual trigger with. When you turn the power on, that small light at the top illuminates, and then from there there's a small donut you can see probably right there, like basically to measure the current through it. You disconnect one of the wires, run that wire through that donut, put the wire back in, and it's basically just measuring the flow of the current to be able to turn on and off the machine. This is a Felder Format 4 Profile 45 Z X Motion. And again, I think this is a 2022 model. Yes, 2022 model. And the other machine I'll show you is a 2015 or 2016. Okay, so this is my Format 4 sliding table saw. This is a Kappa 400 X Motion. This is a little older than the shape I just showed you. This is a 2016 model. That's a, I think, 2021 or 22 model. This is also 10 horsepower, 3-phase. And I'll try to take this cabinet front off as fast as I can. Probably do this a little bit in time lapse to make this quicker. So this is a little different than the shaper because they're captured nuts on the back of this, which is kind of nice. But anyways, it's the same general gist. I'll give you kind of a idea of what that looks like. So the inside of this, although laid out slightly different, has many of the same things in it, which included, that's just a wire that I have there. Anyway, that includes a step-down transformer with the 12 volts that I needed to get to the actual controller. The controller is actually right here on the side of the machine. Same thing, same kind of hole in the body, which made it easy. And then also it comes with VHB tape, which makes it really easy to put there. And then you can hopefully see there's also another one of those inductor donuts to go over one of the 3 phases that gets it to understand when to turn on, when to turn off based on the current pull. And then I extended the cables that go to the transformer just so that, again, I wouldn't be modifying any of the actual e-stop or any of the wiring inside the machine. Now, some people who know the insides and outs of Felders might be saying, well, some of these Felders already come with a trigger mechanism that works for Felder. And this machine actually did. But when I bought it from the guy originally used, it actually was connected that way. I wasn't sure whether or not that was going to work or function with this particular system, and I wanted something that worked universally, so I stuck with their system. So anyways, I'll put the cover back on, and we can go from there. So, different challenge on this particular machine. So this is my brand new Law Invincible FS7 joiner planer combo from SCM. If you haven't seen the video, I'm going to post it up in the corner. Okay, so this particular machine, I didn't have an easy way to put that e-stop on the outside of the machine. If I would have put it over here on this side, now there is a hole in the actual machine over here that I could have gone through, but it would have been somewhat of an eyesore and easy for someone to hit, knock, or myself to hit or knock. So I decided to try to do it inside of the actual electrics cabinet. So this electric cabinet opens up much different than the other ones does. It uses basically one big Allen wrench. So I'm going to use some time lapse here and open this up too, but it's pretty quick. Okay, I think we're open there. Okay, so there we go. So that is the inside of this particular machine. I really like the way this one's done. Just in general, it's got the same information inside as it does on the outside, the actual date that it was manufactured inside also. So same ideas of the electrics bay. This particular one, you can see the donut I have right here to check the one single phase going in, my 230 volts that I'm getting off of this. I could have used 110 or 230 on either of machines. So on this particular one, I used 230 to get it off of. And then I again, put it right on the inside of the door and had zero problems with any of this mesh system working between all of these ones through this metal door, which I was super excited because I really didn't want to put it on the outside. Through, you can see maybe off to the side here, there is an actual port there you can use to get something through the door there if you need to. So anyways, again, super quick and easy on this particular one. I didn't have to extend anything. I didn't have to do anything different. This one was just really easy to pop in and get it to work. Okay, so back up to normal height. I wanted to show you that this is the 6-inch blast gate for the joiner planer, 5-inch blast gate, sorry, for the joiner planer combo, and it's green, and that's the one that's open. Cool thing about this system is, like, I think they all should work, which is it's going to leave a gate open so that you don't ever start your dust collector under like no free-flowing air at all. So anyway, and why move the gate if it doesn't have to? So now I'm going to move around without stopping this so that I can show you that the two blast gates on the table saw are still closed. Hopefully you can see back in the corner that they are red and they are closed. I'm going to tilt down a little bit, reach in and press the power, and you should be able to hear the dust collection come on. You should see those two gates open up. You probably won't hear the other gate closes, but that's what happens. So here we go. So both dust gates are open. Unit switched to three-phase, and a dust collector is on and running. And then when I turn it off, you can program how long you want it to be on after the tool turns off. So in the app, I have it turned right now currently so that it turns off after 5 seconds. But every different machine can have a different program for how long you want it to turn on after the machine's off to get any extra dust that might be left over, or even give you a chance to unplug something and clean up a bench top if you wanted to. So that's the functionality of it. So you may hear my mini split in the background because I picked the hottest day of the summer so far to do this. I just wanted to kind of wrap this up by talking about, like, would I buy this again now that I've done it. I always knew this was going to be an investment. I didn't think it was going to be inexpensive. A good dust collector is really important. Nothing more important than your lungs. For me, more important than hearing protection is to have as dust-free a shop as possible. And I think as the shop was going to get bigger, and I knew that the tools in this particular shop got bigger, it was harder for me to get to all the blast gates either too. So I chose something that I thought was going to be great, and so far I'm incredibly happy with it. The customer service has been amazing. Their support has been amazing, and the system just works. There's no drama whatsoever in how it works. There are some parts of it that I'm not going to show you that are part of the app that are kind of tweaky, and the cool part is they can walk you through if they need to. If you've got a certain tool that needs a different level of how it senses it turning on, the level of current you need it to see before it turns the actual dust collection on, they can walk you through that all. It's all built into that app. So for instance, all of these three-phase machines have basically computers inside of them that I have. And so you don't want it to turn on just when the power of the machine comes on. You want it to turn on when the machine starts demanding some current, is when you want the dust collection to come on. And so you can adjust for all of that in their app, which is really cool. And again, you can link any tool, any trigger I should say, to any tool. And you can link multiple tools to one blast gate, etc. It's just really flexible, really easy to use. But in my case, I don't have that same situation that Bent's Woodworking has, where he talked about the lockout feature. The lockout feature is super cool, but it only works for some of the machines. It only works for machines where the power is going through one of their triggers. So that would be for one of these heavy duty ones, like for the bandsaw, or for the triggers that you plug in between the actual units. My three-phase machines don't have that feature. So any of my three-phase machines technically can't be locked out. But then again, I don't keep my three-phase converter on. I turn it on and off every time I'm using the machines. So if somebody walked into the shop and didn't understand exactly how to turn on that my perfect phase converter, they wouldn't be able to turn those machines on anyway. So I'm fully happy with that functionality. I don't have small kids anymore. You've seen most of my videos anyway. So it's not an issue for me. Anyway, I just wanted to thank the guys from Grit Automation. I mean, I didn't get a discount. I didn't get anything special from them other than great customer service and what I think is a great product. Again, thanks for watching. Subscribe. I know I don't have tons of videos coming out all the time, but hopefully the content's good when it does. So, Thanks very much, and keep watching PK Woodworking.